to pop back down. But you had said something that was interesting about, like expectations for Caleb and how, as fans, we all want one thing and we expect, a guy with a lot of hype and fanfare to come in and just be ready. But you said it's not always that way. Like that extra hitch, I like the way you phrased it, that hitches gets stitches. That's how you hurt yourself. That's how you hurt your team.
Right.
You coached, not everybody can be CJ Stroud, Justin Herbert. You coached Justin Herbert when he was a rookie.
That's right.
What was it about Justin Herbert, if you guys indeed saw it early, that told you, all right, this cat is different. Like he's processing it. He gets it.
So for the record, Justin Herbert's rookie year, the plan was for Tyrod Taylor to play.
Fair. That's
and
right.
then at some point in time, let's make a determination of whether or not Justin's ready to go out and play, right?
Fair enough.
And it just so happened, I remember like it was yesterday, we're standing on the sideline. The stadium's empty. It was during the COVID season, right? We're at SoFi. And Justin tapped me on the shoulder and said, hey, coach. The head coach just told me I'm about to go in the game. This was before the opening kickoff. The kickoff team or the return team for us, for the Chargers, was right there in front of us. And I'm looking for Tyrod to walk over.
Week 1.
This is week 1 of the season. I'm looking for Tyrod to walk over and, just dap him up so that he can go out and we can go out and take on the Chiefs, right? And when Justin tapped me on the shoulder, it was before the trainer could come and say, hey, coach, your young quarterback's going to play. Or, I looked up at him because, Justin Herbert is, like Captain America in a football uniform. And then I looked back at Tyrod and saw Tyrod on the bench. And I'm like, oh, my goodness. Yeah, it's time. It's go time. All right. And I think more than anything, we have been preparing up until that point for Justin to be able to go out and really just manage the offense, right? And I know you hear that term quite often.
Yep.
You hear about quarterbacks that are quote unquote game managers. What does that mean? That really means that, okay, we expect for you to stay on schedule. We expect for solo right, past 35, X deep cross, Z Dover, to the ball to go to the deep cross or to hit the Dover route, right? All right, we know where the ball should go, and it should happen in a prescribed amount of time. Well, the Pat Mahomes of the world, the guys that Aaron Rodgers, the guys that really have control and ownership of an offense, they can come up to the line of scrimmage, and if they don't like the look for solo right past 35, X deep cross Z Dover, they have the autonomy to change the play to whatever they see fit for that situation. Where your game managers, they don't typically have that option to go rogue and do what they want to do. And you advise them to not turn it into a scramble drill, all right, very often.
Same game plan for both players at that point?
Absolutely. Just one game plan, right? There was no game plan that was specific for Justin.
Okay.
It was all about what we thought we needed to do to beat the Kansas City Chiefs on that Sunday afternoon. Well, nevertheless, I'll go back to the very first time that I had a conversation with Justin, and it often goes this way with young quarterbacks. I coached Andrew Luck in college and started coaching him at the Colts in his second year. Just think about what I said before about, hey, you see a little, you see a lot, you see a lot, you don't see anything. All right. As a coach, it's our job to meet them where they are, right? To take, okay, all right, there's so many possibilities of what the defense can do. But when we call this play, the only possibility that matters is it middle open or middle close? Is the safety in the post or is it a split safety look? And leave it at that. Let's not, what if him or when he asks, well, coach, what if they hold it into the snap and then they roll back and this variation of too deep? No, too deep is too deep. Middle open is middle open. That's all that matters. When in doubt, let your feet take you to your check down. All right. That point alone is how Justin's rookie year, how we approached it. I want to say Austin Eckler caught close to 85, 90 balls that year.
Yeah.
All right. And but prior to the season, the theme and going into the offseason, the theme over the course of the offseason in dealing with Justin was, hey, Tom Brady and Drew Brees completed over 30 33 or 35% of their passes to backs.
Yep.
Right.
Check it down.
Check it down.
Don't be a hero.
So he got that? Is that what you're saying? He was like, he absorbed it. He was willing to do it. He embraced it. And,
he submitted to our process.
Okay.
And trusted that, hey, now, were there times when he decided, well, I'm going to wait and I'm going to sit back and I'm going to hold that ball and pump that ball until that deep cross shows up? Yeah, that happened a few times, but he got touched by the defense. And I often tell young quarterbacks also that scars are reminders.
Yeah.
So after they get hit a couple times, they're looking for somewhere else to go with the ball.
So what should we as Bears fans look for? More importantly, what are they going to then look for as he embarks on this journey in the first 4, 6, 8 games of the year? What should it look like? Kind of what you're talking about, where
I'm going to tell you what I think it should look like, and this is just one man's opinion. De-emphasize the quarterback. And you fantasy owners, fan base, be patient with them. Give them an opportunity. There's going to be some growing pains. There's going to be a learning curve for him. As talented as Caleb is, like his arm talent is off the chart. Mm-hmm. Some of the things that we watched him do at practice today is very special, all right, very unique to his skill set. And I watched Caleb play in high school. I offered him a scholarship when I was a coordinator at Michigan in 2018. He was in the 9th grade at the time. And when I came back to Ann Arbor and said to Jim, hey, there's a kid that lives down the street from my house in D.C. on Capitol Hill. That's at Gonzaga Catholic High School. That's special. Wow. I think we need to get in on him early. There was some he's in the 9th grade, and he's 5'11", 6 feet tall, whatever, he wasn't 6 feet at the time. And, but you could see that he had something special about him. The it factor is really instincts and talent combined, right?
Right.
He had that early on, and he has it times 10 right now. But, okay, let the data drive the strategy. Now, I'm going to tell you where I'm going with this, okay? In the history of the Bears organization, okay, we've often talked about, all right, why can't we stabilize the quarterback position? Right? When I was here, 07, 08, 09, we had Sexy Rexy. We had Kyle Orton in the Toyota Prius.
You guys actually called him Sexy Rexy in the organization?
We did not.
I thought that's just what we called him.
We did not. We did not. We had Brian Greasy, who knew everything about everything. That's why he's a hell of a coach for the 49ers now. Yep. And then ultimately we ended up
with Jay, right?
Trading to get Jay Cutler, right?
That's right. April 2nd.
Yeah, but this is, you got to look at this, okay? I think it was some time ago, a few months back, and I had this conversation with Pat McCaskey at the owners meeting in Nashville. I want to say back in May. Man, are you guys thinking about putting a roof over Soldier Field? Yeah. All right, think about it. There's 2 stadiums in the NFL. Correct me if I'm wrong. You can fact check me. All right, but there's 2 that sit adjacent to a Great Lake, Soldier Field and the stadium in Cleveland.
Yep.
Yeah.
I've coached quarterbacks in both places. Okay.
Yeah.
There was a game in 2005, Week 10, Bears versus the San Francisco 49ers.
Oh, yeah.
I was coaching at the Niners before I came to Chicago. Okay. Cody Pickett was the quarterback for the 49ers. In the pregame, the quarterbacks were standing 10 yards away from each other, and it was so windy that we couldn't even play catch in the pregame. Okay.
That was the Vasher return game, wasn't it?
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. That was that game, right?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. Nate Vasher, who's now he's an intern, or he's a part of the training camp staff here
I didn't know
with the
that.
Bears. Yeah. Vasher was at practice today.
I didn't know
that. Exactly. Looks like a linebacker now. Right?
That's great.
But my point is this, okay?
So you think this is something related to the winds and the temp and the conditions?
Let the data drive the strategy. We have 2 types of data. Qualitative, that's historical. You guys know we're always looking for a quarterback in Chicago, right?
Yeah.
And quantitative. Yeah. The numbers don't lie. In the months of December and January at Soldier Field, the passer rating, all right, across the league, all right, Soldier Field is the lowest. That's both quarterbacks. All right. The opponent,
Cleveland the second?
Cleveland is up there, but I know Soldier Field for a fact is one of the more challenging environments for a quarterback to function, all right, in the winter months.
I never thought of it that way about being on the lake, as obvious as it seems. I never
Yeah.
thought of that. I mean, like there are cold weather environments where quarterbacks thrive. Green Bay, Foxborough, Kansas City's a little warmer than us, but they get cold weather in December and in January. Like those quarterbacks thrived. I've never really thought about the lake factor for whatever.
It gets cold in Houston sometime, probably once a year. I'm not talking about it being cold. I'm talking about the wind.
Yeah.
It's the windy city.
Well, you remember that game in '94, October 31st.
Yeah,
that
no, I know.
Yeah.
Green Bay beat up on the Bears. That was the day that all that wind was whipping and sleet and snow.
I guess I never knew that it was the lowest quarterback rating amongst all the stadiums too.
Under 200 yards passing per game. On average. Both teams.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And think about the Nate Vasher game we're talking about. In that game, was it
Oh, it was crazy.
20 or 30 yards total passing yards
Yeah.
for both teams in the game, right?
I'll never forget that return because how wide left that, or I guess wide right, from
Right.
the kicker standpoint, that ball. I mean, that ball, it was incredible to watch that ball. It looked like me on the first tee, just completely.
Yeah, so, but my point is this: to win in this great city, all right, and for this organization to win, they have the blueprint in place. 85, they did it, right? The 2006 team that went to the Super Bowl, pretty much the same blueprint. De-emphasize the quarterback.
Oh, I can't.
Play great defense.
Look at you.
You don't want to hear that.
I don't.
Can't even make it.
Play great defense, okay? Run the football. Now, will your quarterback have to ultimately make plays for you win games? Absolutely. On third and manageable as opposed to third and obvious passing situation. Will he have to make plays in a 2-minute situation? Absolutely. All right. Will he have to make plays on third and goal in the red zone? That's a for sure right on. As Spice Adams would say. Let's shout out to Spice.
Love Spice. We love Spice.
Double A. Yeah, I was here with him.
We love
back in the day as well. But my point of saying de-emphasize the quarterback, I'm not saying that, you run the wishbone. I'm not saying that by any means. All right, but you're fooling yourself if you think, okay, there were 68 different starting quarterbacks in the National Football League last year. And I blame it on you fantasy owners.
I don't play fantasy, thank God.
Not anymore.
I quit. I couldn't
You
stand
used
it.
to play fantasy.
The good news
Not
is
anymore.
the new stadium will have, whether it's here or Arlington Heights, Pep is going to have a dome.
Oh.
So it's going to change things.
It's going to change things. Now we got to just keep Caleb safe until then, until
Yes.
you get the dome
Yeah.
over the stadium, because you don't want. You go out there in Soldier Field in November and you're in 11 personnel. You got your quarterback in the shotgun for 80% of the snaps in the game. He's not going to be able to throw a pass more than 10 yards down the field. And we're talking about, like Jay Cutler, he was one of the few quarterbacks that I had ever been around who threw such a tight spiral that the wind didn't really bother him.
Yeah.
Right?
His arm was elite.
It was, Caleb has some of that.
Yeah.
Okay. But Jay, the nose of the ball was down. All right, when he threw the football, I've never seen anything like it.
Does Josh Allen have the kind of arm that can kind of penetrate what you're talking about? Like it seems like he's kind of one of the guys that might not affect him as much.
Right. He has a cannon arm, but it's cold and it's snowy in Buffalo, but you're not going to have the gale force winds like you have at Soldier Field.
Interesting way to look at it.
So are some of the young quarterbacks being is there a disservice to guys like Zach Wilson that have been forced to play at a young age? Is there a disservice to Baker Mayfield? Any of these quarterbacks that have come out, is it an absolute disservice that these guys, if you're not going to be able to be patient with them, that you've really kind of, they've screwed the pooch because of the way they had to come in and play right away?
Absolutely. There's a human element to this, and that's why for me as a coach over the years, when you first acquire a young quarterback, I call it the incubation phase. I try and really just help him to manage every aspect of his life as it pertains to being the quarterback of the franchise, the face of the franchise, all right? And even helping him to organize, all right, just his social life and his personal life. I meet him in the parking lot the very first day. I meet him in the parking lot, and you set the standard by saying, hey, listen, all right, the only thing that matters is that you're the best version of yourself every day that you step in this building. Nobody cares about anything else. Don't nobody give a Smith about fingernail polish or what kind of car you drive. The fan base in Chicago is one of the best, in all the sport. You were talking about one of the charter franchises in the National Football League. All right. Everybody wants the Bears to win games, and you have an opportunity, all right, to be the guy that can be the reason that we win games.
He seems like he gets that, which is good.
Yeah.
So
it's important to him.
Yeah, which is good. Hey, you're the man. Thanks for coming back down. And I love the conversation. I really do. And I'm going to start digging deeper into what those numbers look like in December. Now I'm like, I mean, I know the weather's bad, but I never thought of it in that context, and that the building's got the lowest quarterback rating.
Any day when it's windy, actually.
I know.
Because that could happen in October and November. That wind can whip up on the lake.
It's good conversation. Thanks, Pep. Keep up the good work. We'll talk to you soon, okay?
Right,
there's Pep Hamilton from the NFL Network. It's Carmen and Jurko. We'll be